Hi! So, to be completely honest, I don't even know what we're going to be doing. But I have had some heavy guidance, dog puppy, all morning to be honest, that we're going to do a video today. I feel like a lot has shifted. Maybe you have felt that. I know I have. I feel like my vibration has kind of gone through the roof. I have this more solidified footing on where I'm at, where lately it's kind of felt very topsy-turvy, 1 foot in one reality and 1 foot in the other. This big buildup of knowing that all of these things are shifting and turning and changing and growing, this expansion. And it's been this kind of beautiful crazy, right? We really take a step back away from like our ego mind and acknowledge this incredible journey that we're all on in life, whether it's through a spiritual awakening or just life in general. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful how everything really works out, and we really look and realize that we couldn't be where we are, we couldn't be who we are, and we couldn't know and feel the things that we know and feel without having been where we were, and to that end, even where we are, being present in each moment, right? So I think there's something to be said for that, and I think that a lot of us have really sort of been getting a big grip on being present in the moment and how important that is, and not being so caught up in the what's coming, what is happening right now, why is this happening. That surrender is becoming it's just getting very highlighted. It's something that I think everyone, in one way or another, even if you're only just starting to begin to think about surrendering, we've all kind of gotten to this place where we realize the more we try to control our situations that we're in, the more chaotic they really get, right? We think that we know what we need to do, but really it's once we say, let go and let God, isn't that like the saying? Let go and let God, whatever your beliefs are. But just knowing that all things are for our best good, all things serve us, and it's merely a matter of taking that step back and trying to see how is it serving. I was listening to Alexander on Indigo Light Child this morning. I think it's Indigo Light Child. He was talking about these tornadoes that came through where he is living now, and these hurricanes that are devastating the Carolinas, and how even on those instances, those events, it's easy to look at the situation as a why would this be happening? Why is this happening to me? It's easy to get caught up in that. Why is this happening to us? Why would God let this happen, etc. But he commented that when you take a step back, he really looked at the community and how people who wouldn't normally speak to each other were not only speaking to each other over cups of coffee, but were helping each other. And the sense of community has really grown because of these events that were brought through the community. And when we really take a moment to acknowledge the benefit of those instances, that is all it takes to shift what could be a negative into a positive. And that is the difference between being awakened and being asleep, is taking a step back from this is happening to me, as opposed to this is happening for me. Everything is happening for us, everything. Heck, I'm in Florida and we have red tide going hardcore, and our beautiful waters are in a state of chaos, and we have a lot of people that want to be in an uproar about that, and I totally understand it because it hurts my very nature-minded heart as well. But I also understand that as much as we are going through these purges and have all of these pent-up negative energies and anchor points that we have been stuck inside of, so does Gaia, and she needs to go through these purges as well, and it's only going to continue. think about the chaos that is occurring in your life in one way or the other, whether it looks like mass chaos or it's just internal. There are shifts that are occurring, and you wouldn't be going through your different stages of evolution in your life path if it wasn't for those instances. Is when we're comfortable, we kind of just sit there, we grow stagnant, and we don't do anything about anything. We say this is good enough, and I'm going to leave it, and to change something might be scary. But if something needs to be changed, that's when our higher self takes over, right? Source, divine intervention, and we continue to hit these walls. It's like I continue to say to friends that are close to me, we sit in this tower and we say we're comfortable in this tower. I'm not leaving my tower and going down into the world where Lord knows what can happen. I'm staying here. But that's not where we belong. We can't do anything to benefit ourselves or the collective when we're in a tower. You're in a tower. You're just sitting there. We need to get out of the tower, and if you refuse to do it on your own in the kind of simpler way where maybe you could just take the stairs to get out, then divine intervention or higher selves or whatever takes over and continues to bring these events into life that slam that tower, slam that tower, slam that tower, till eventually the tower crumbles. And when you wait until the point where the tower crumbles and you don't have a choice anymore, we often find then that getting to where we were supposed to be on our journey anyways became a lot more difficult than it could have been if we just surrendered, right? So, that being said, I feel like there is a lot of messages about surrendering the journey and enjoying where we are in each moment and giving ourselves grace and acknowledgement for where we've been, where we are, where we're heading, even if that picture isn't clear for us. For the most part, it shouldn't be, because to box ourselves into what we think is correct tends to only limit and inhibit, right? We don't always know what is best, but leaving things to our highest vibrational timeline, and that we are following the synchronicities and the feelings of our inner being, and knowing that it is leading us to where we're supposed to be, is everything. And trusting that inner guidance. That's been huge for me lately, is really understanding how much my guidance has grown. Trusting in my guides that are around me, and not just my own intuition, which Lord has been my massive part of my journey and awakening, is knowing that my intuition, my intuitive feelings that I've always had, have been on point. They sound crazy because really once you're awakened and you start to live an awakened life, it appears crazy to somebody who's still asleep, doesn't it? And aside from that, understanding that my guides are real, my higher self is real, source is real, and not to say that I understand who they all are or what that all means or what everything means, but knowing that what I do understand is my truth, and my truth is all that needs to matter to me, and my truth doesn't need to be your truth doesn't need to be my truth. But at the end of the day, we all have a truth, and living that truth is what brings us to our ultimate happiness. So, on the note of guidance, I love going to our Goodwill bookstore. There's almost nothing that makes me happier when it comes to shopping. And you never know what amazing little finds you'll come across in there, right? So we have a whole spiritual metaphysical section, and I love perusing through there. It was almost like an addiction for a while there. I have so many metaphysical books, it's ridiculous. I don't know how I'm ever going to get through reading them all, but at some point I will, right? So I kind of took a step back and said, all right, so I don't need to do so much, what do you call it, chipmunking or whatever, squirreling things away. It's kind of what I was doing. I laugh, I have dragon energy around me. Hardcore, I have dragon energy around me and within me, and I laugh and say when I get into these hermit modes where I'm going through these periods of self-growth, I kind of turn into my dragon. I go into my lair, I go into my cave, I surround myself by all my pretties, I got my cards, I have my books, I have my crystals, I have my videos, my solid guidance that I like to watch on YouTube, and I dragon away, I stay in all of my pretties, and I don't want to share them. That's not true, I share them. I don't want to share myself. I get into a very internal state, which for Sagittarius isn't typical, but got a lot of Scorpio in me, so I tunnel away in my little dragon lair. But then when I come out, a dragon, make my presence known, and that's when my Sagittarius comes out, and I almost roar like a Leo. But that's when I'm here and I'm there and I want to implement everything I've been learning, and I want to share it with everyone. I want to initiate more change in others. I want to share what I've been going through in hopes that it will help guide even just one person, even if it's a little bit. That really, it gets my heart going. That is what makes me feel alive. So that being said, here we are. My point of my bookstore was that I kind of took a step back and I did the dragoning, I sat away with my stuff, but 3 times over the last week and a half I have felt guided to go to the bookstore, knowing that there was going to be a deck of cards there for me. That doesn't happen often. And lo and behold, all 3 times that I trusted that guidance and went to the bookstore, there was a deck of cards there. So today the deck of cards was Healing with the Angels Oracle cards. It's a Doreen Virtue set. I think what you might about her, we all have our different opinions, but I do enjoy her decks. I enjoy any deck. I don't hate on decks of cards. I think they're all fabulous. I have so many of them. So I'm excited. I'm going to bust that out today. And I think we're going to start off with just kind of a general read and kind of get the lay of what is going on with everyone. I don't even have, let's see. I don't have a clue, really, of what... Oh, I do know. We're going to use our Lightworker cards, I'm being told. Out come the Lightworker deck. I am not going to be reading the message for the cards I am feeling. It is going to be intuitive. What do I feel? What do you feel when you see the card? When you read the short blip on the bottom? What does your inner being tell you is the message you should get from that card? That's what's going to matter. My rug is definitely bent up under here. My dog loves to come and lay in my little, this is like my spiritual corner. This is where I meditate. This is where I go to connect. I don't know if you guys get any sort of like symptom type things when you intentionally connect. Sometimes even not intentionally. I'm at the point where it's not even intentionally, but I know that I'm connecting to energies around me when my armpits start to sweat. I don't wear deodorant anymore. I don't have an odor, really. If I have any odor, it is on the days where I'm really purgy, is what I like to say. I know that I've gotten rid of a lot of negativity inside of me. A lot of growth has happened, and it's like the stinky's got to come out. But I sweat, just not stinky sweat, when I am connected, and Lord, is it happening right now. This corner does that almost every time. She likes to be in this corner. She messes up that rug on me. Bless her heart. Okay, what messages do we have from our guides, the general collective, what we're going through right now, messages that we need from our guides. Third ray of creative intelligence. It's a 3. 3 brings in all aspects of spirituality, right? It's our higher self, it is source, and it's our physical self. What is around us that we see and the things that we don't see. If you look on the image of this card, you will see that her physical body is cracking open, right? It's like stone. She's cracking. She's been in this bent over, huddled in stage for a while. It looks like kind of self-comfort, and now she's blossoming. You got the butterflies, which are incredibly spiritual. Most people, already know that reference. The rays coming down, it's very spiritually guided. You even have these little orbs around, but she really looks like she's busting out of her shell now. The creative intelligence, really starting to understand what you have inside of you that you can use to contribute towards your path, and also to help others, because everything on our journey, while your work always has to do with yourself, in the end, the work that you end up doing benefits not just yourself, it benefits everybody. That is the purpose of everything. Again, to speak to what Alexander said this morning, talking about how at the end of the day, what really matters is each other. And it's something that we know at face value, but to really think on that, everything around us is made by us. We have created everything that is around us. We are creators. We are master manifestors. That concept has just been removed from us. We've removed ourselves from that situation. and have put ourselves more in a laid back, passive, life happens to me and every once in a while it kind of just works out the way I want it to, we have created everything around us in this entire earth. You know, there was only Gaia and nature, which we are a part of, and we have made all of these other physical things that obviously didn't come from the earth. So when we take those things away, we are left with only that, and that is what matters at the end of the day. And we are really starting to get to a point through this ascension process where we are recognizing that, and we are having this really big desire to help everyone get back to the same page of collectively collaborating and making heaven on earth. Heaven on earth is what we are heading towards. What is your heaven on earth? What is happiness? And understanding that there is enough for everyone, and that your heaven can exist alongside my heaven and their heaven and his heaven and her heaven. I think that is incredible. So the creative intelligence, I think, speaks to that. The next card that came out is Merkaba Spiritual Protection 25, which is a 7 in numerology, which is the most spiritual number that there is. This is credence to me towards not only taking protective measures of ourselves, which is something that is important once you are really awakening and raising your vibration, you become this beacon for negative energies. And I know that a lot of us have probably experienced that. The more that you go through these roadblocks and bust through them, and the higher that you ascend on your journey, sometimes it feels like there's just this negativity that it's like it finds you and it tries to latch on, and you just sit here all of a sudden going, what the hell? Where is this coming from? I was doing so good. Brushing that off, remembering to call it protection around yourself is super important, and it's something that we honestly overlook. I do it too. I've been better with it lately, but especially dream state, I wasn't very good at calling protection around myself before I went and traveled on the astral planes. We'll never make that mistake again. Calling protection in your guides around you, around your Merkaba, is important. I think, in my feeling, this also speaks to the fact that a lot of individuals' Merkabas are activating. Your Merkaba is your light body. It is your connection to the planes that are non-physical, and yeah, there's a lot of people that are really starting to understand that. And I think that dreaming, if your dreams have been more lucid lately, they've been more vivid, you've been remembering them more. I know that I have. I've spoken with a couple of friends who have agreed they're in the same boat. Their dreams are becoming much more realistic and interactive. That only increases. The more your Merkaba is activated, the more that you are accepting of this journey that you're on, and the guidance that you are getting, and what this is really all about, right? I like that. These swirls that are coming off around her even kind of look like wings behind her. Master Hilarion and Archangel Raphael. 28, which is a 10, end of a cycle, a completion of a cycle, and then it also breaks down to a 1, which is a new beginning. Endings bring beginnings, right? Something that on the number alone speaks to what we were saying earlier, where everybody has kind of worked through all of these blocks, these events, these things that are going on around us, whether it's physical or emotional, internal, external, and it's kind of getting us onto the path of where we need to be, right? So we are realizing that there are places that we have been that we no longer need to be. We can say goodbye to that chapter, we can close the door and start off on our new beginnings, the Fool's Journey, and really have our new beginning there, jumping off of that with faith. Master Hilarion and Archangel Raphael, this card is speaking to healing. They're both healers, they both assist in healing. We are all going through healing in massive ways, and Archangel Raphael, he's my homeboy. I love him. I call on him so many times throughout the day. It's nuts. I have a very close relationship with him as an archangel. He is the archangel of healing, and I guarantee he's around you. Calling him in when I'm getting my crown's going like crazy now. He likes being talked about. I'm getting goosebumps now. He likes being acknowledged. calling him in when you're going through those moments of difficulty in the physical or emotional, mental, whatever your situation is, guarantee you and promise will be helpful. At the very least, in that moment, you are going to feel surrounded in comfort and love, and know that some aspect of this is being taken from you, and the divine is working on this for you. This is being played out, and you no longer need to have energy focused on that anymore. It is all being done for your benefit. I love Raphael. He's amazing. Okay, I feel like that is it. I'm going to do one more run through on these cards, but I don't feel like there's anything else that's going to come out. Nope. Alrighty, so that's it on those. Those are my feelings on those. If you have something else that you're taking out of these, maybe you have something synchronistic about these, by all means, go at it. I think also, looking at the Merkaba card, you know, you got this larger image of her down here. It's kind of like her higher self beaming down, right? Like she's finally connecting. Kind of what I said earlier, making that connection with your guides and your higher self around you, activating your light body. Those are fun cards. I love this deck. This is the Lightworker Oracle by Alana Fairchild. This is the first Oracle deck I ever got. Absolutely love that deck. Okay, let me see if we have anything else coming out of here. Keepers of the Light. Okay. I got this deck a few weeks ago. Keepers of the Light, Kyle Gray. I really enjoy this deck. This deck has a lot of different Ascended Masters in it, angels, guides, and each has a message. There are also twin flames in here, which I know is something that a lot of us get excited about, and a lot of others of us are just tired of hearing about. I hear you on it. I'm saying a lot right now, it's aggravating. Let me ground really quick. In fact, I never lit this incense. I like to get my cedarwood going. There we go again. There are quite a few pairs, I'm not going to say quite a few, there are several pairs though of twin flames in here, so it's kind of fun to go through this deck and shuffle through or intuitively pull your cards, and the guidebook references that if you pull a pair of twin flames, it is a nod to your being a twin. You can have your own school of thought on that, your own way of doing things. I will say that I consider myself to be a twin. That is a journey that I am on, although it is no longer the journey that is it's not my priority. It is significant to me still. It is a connection that is very strong. It is a connection that I am incredibly aware of. But I'm also at a place where I know that focusing on that connection and that connection alone holds you back. It becomes a devil energy in itself. And that's not the purpose of it. The purpose of the twin flame journey is to look at yourself in that mirror of the other person and grow. You grow. You see your reflection of yourself in that person. And if you are genuinely on the twin flame journey and you are going about it the way that the divine intended, not this romanticized relationship, not pining after somebody that you wanted to be with but just didn't work out, you have no choice but to grow. You understand that when you surrender to the journey, you really flourish. When you are holding on to what you want that journey to be, instead of what the divine is intending it to be, it is like running your head against a brick wall. It is. I have had many, many times where I get caught up in how hard this is. This is so hard. And it holds me back. It holds me back. My vibration lowers. I am not in the happy, connected, and aligned place that I want to be. I am not working on my own soul growth. I'm not helping anybody around me, to be honest. And then I take a step back and I go, whoa, Nelly. I got focused on the wrong aspect of this again. So that's all I want to say on the twin journey. the purpose of that was to say that I do have cards that come out in my readings for myself every time that are twins. There are times where I do a reading for myself and my twin, and our counter twin cards pull up. And then there are people that I do readings for who know without a doubt that they are not a twin, and I have not had a twin flame card come out for them. My head is going in, and my crown is itching. So that's kind of fun. It's fun, and it gives a little bit of credence to it. So this is, however, a general reading. So if a twin flame card comes out, it might be for you. It might not be. If it resonates, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. Maybe it's just the message in there that'll resonate and not so much the twin aspect. Maybe it is and you just didn't know it. Who knows? Who knows? You know. All right, Ascended Masters, Angels and Guides. What messages do we have for the collective? I have a block right here in my throat. I can feel it. It's been sitting there for like a day and a half. I don't know what this one is from, and I want it out. It's not going well. Lady Venus, which is kind of funny to me. So if you pay any attention to astrology, Venus right now is going in and out of being in retrograde and going direct for a while. I want to say until the end of November. Might even be February, but I think that's Chiron. So Venus rules our relationships, our personal relationships with others and with ourselves. So really paying attention to how that is affecting you, looking in your natal chart and seeing where Venus lies, what house and what sign, you will be able to get a better idea of how that's going to affect you in your life. Lady Venus, downloads and understanding. The truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. So again, your truths that you have known, that we are all growing more comfortable into being. More and more of that information is coming down. I'm sure that the majority of you who wind up watching this, wherever you are on your own timeline, will be able to agree that the synchronicities that are around you have been picking up. They've been more in your face. They are difficult to ignore. Sometimes it might make you laugh. Sometimes you might be annoyed that this just keeps coming up. Been there. Venus is going to be huge for that, especially in our interpersonal relationships. I knew this card was going to come out, so I feel kind of laughing about that. I think it would be very important for you to look up where Venus is on your natal chart. I'm feeling like I should tell everybody that. Truth is being revealed. What is your truth? What is your truth? And Radha, Soul Flame. I love this card. I just think that she's actually absolutely beautiful. Rediscover a lost part of yourself. Experience relationship harmony and healing. So the two of these are speaking to relationships, which they could still be your interpersonal, your own inner personal relationships. Experience relationship harmony and healing. That could absolutely be within yourself, knowing that there are fragments of yourself that have split off in ways that maybe you didn't really understand or want, pulling those back in, reintegrating them. I've been through that lately. I've assumed an entire new name. I have recently, within the last few months, met 3 different aspects of myself through different past life regressions and soul journeys, and I did a shamanic journey with a friend of mine, and oh my God, those experiences are mind-blowing, and I will never, ever forget them. I completely and absolutely recommend that everybody attempts to find somebody who they can do a past life regression with or a soul retrieval at least once, because it's eye-opening to see this is why I have this behavior, this attachment, this thought process, it's from this life, and being able to heal and release that then, or heal it and then embody the lesson from that, which is what I chose to do for those 3 aspects of myself, hence my name on my channel now. So experiencing that harmony with myself, healing those parts of myself, making myself understand that I am at a place now where I can truly call myself whole. I'm still healing, but I'm not broken. None of us are broken. I'm not broken anymore. I'm healing, but I'm not broken. That it's too many cards. In case you do want to know though, Sunat Kumara, light activation. I enjoy that. Shine your light. Your internal guidance is coming through loud and clear. And Green Tara, love Green Tara, supreme protection. You are protected. Cords are being cut. Move beyond limitation and trust. If those cards, if you want to know what they are, and those resonate for you, there they are. I'm not going to keep them out. I had told Spirit before I sat down that I wasn't going to go for clusters of cards because sometimes it gets overwhelming. And I want these messages to be super clear. So, I'm going to let y'all know what those are just in case. I'm not going to take them though. I feel like there's one more single card that needs to come out. What is that card, please? There's one more guide with a message. I can feel it. What message do you have, please? No. Alright, I feel like there's one more, but I don't think it's in this deck. Pulling out my archangels. The Angels of Atlantis. Going on lately, hasn't there? Every time I just sit in stillness and really feel where everybody's been, where we are and where we're going, it's just three completely different feelings. It's like going from anxiety and almost depression, just this feeling of like I can't take anymore. When is this going to end? What is going on? Frustration. Feeling lost and hopeless, and it's like the sun is starting to shine now, right? Like it's a mostly sunny day. I'm really starting to feel like the clouds are parting. I don't know about where everybody else lives, but here we have had for a while now double rainbows almost every day. And I'm not talking like for a week, I'm saying for weeks. I almost expect to see a double rainbow in the evening now. They're beautiful. We took a trip this weekend, and even over the water, we were on the water, and the clouds were just absolutely gorgeous. I love looking at the sky. But looking in the clouds, there was like a rainbow prism in the clouds. In the middle of the day, there was no rain or anything. It was beautiful and brightly sunny, and it was just this stripe of a rainbow prism in this huge puffy cloud. Oh God, I can't even describe it. It was beautiful. The rainbows have just been everywhere. It really feels like the storm is passing and the sun is shining and the rainbow is coming. Like that 10 of Cups always has a rainbow in that card, right? It's like what everybody looks for, that rainbow, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And what is that pot of gold? Like our happiness, right? Whatever your happiness would be ultimately is what you would want to find at the end of that rainbow. My happiness might not be yours. So it is. It's like this nod that everything we've been through has been for a purpose, and that it's all coming to fruition. All of our manifestations that we've been setting into play over this last year, they're all coming. You know, we have this beautiful full moon in Aries, right after we just, entered into equinox, fall equinox. We burn away all the things that no longer serve us. Zapkiel, ecstasy. If that's not utter happiness, I don't know what is. have this nun, this sister, who has Raphael again, who's just fallen into the arms of these angels. This little child that is at her feet with these flowers. Another one that is looking at her. It's like these inner children, like your inner child, the innocence, falling in, just surrender. She looks like she's just full on surrendering. Can you guys see? I don't know if that's coming in clearly. She looks like she was anguished, and she's just surrendering to the angels, which is when we end up in ecstasy, when we stop controlling everything, right? I was gonna read the card, and I'm not even. The other card that came out was Raphael. I told you he's my homeboy. Communion. It's all about community, right? Healing. Green is healing. It's our heart chakra. This is love. This is unconditional love for ourselves and for the collective community. I love that. These cards are all resonating, like the same concept. It's very much everything that I felt was going to end up coming through. I think that a lot of people are really feeling this. I think we're going to see that more and more on all these YouTube videos and whatnot that we all like to watch. Gabriel, inspiration, that creative ray of intelligence, right? Everybody is getting inspired now by what could be, what is ahead of us now that these other things are kind of moving away, now that the storm has passed and the skies are parting into this beautiful sunshine with rainbows, and the birds are flying and chirping, and we got butterflies and dragonflies, and we can go outside again. What are we inspired to create after everything we've been through? And Uriel, friendship. So I do want to say, you know, the speaking to the community again, and having your solid foundation of people around you. But I would be remiss if I didn't point out that there are two people in this card, and that they're holding hands, and they're younger, they're like children. It's that innocence, right? There's no adult ego around that situation. They're just sitting out in nature. They're sitting on a beach. They got the water, which is our emotions, right? In tarot, water is your emotions. You got the water washing in and out, washing in and bringing in new emotion, and then going back and taking away that doesn't serve anymore, washing it away. This beautiful moon that is coming up over the horizon. At least I would assume it's a moon. It doesn't look very sunny. It looks more like a moon, but it is also Uriel. So this is the chakras that these angels are all associated with. Gabriel blue, Uriel is like a white, not just white, like a, I don't know, like a fiery white. Uriel is definitely a love, friendship, the heart, kindness, archangel. I'm going to finish my shuffle through on this. Pretty sure that's it. One more. Michael. Enchantment. Archangel Michael. Love him too. He's the protector. He's got an awesome sword. When you're feeling unsafe, you're feeling a little fearful or unsure, calling in Michael, amazingly helpful. Call his sword in front, behind, both sides, above, pointing up above your head, and below, pointing down, and then that sword into your heart. That brings protection all around you. Archangel Michael, an enchantment. Really believing in the wonders of everything around you, even the things that you thought were maybe a little bit too crazy to believe in, fairies and angels and dragons. It's all energies. It's the non-physical. It's the things that are hidden from our sight because we became too involved in ourselves. I'll just say that. And tunnel visioned, you know. We'll leave it at that. But trusting that the things that are around us that we feel are there, the enchantment of the world once you really open your eyes, when you awaken, right, and you look around and see how magical this world really is, how magical we are. We are magical freaking people. We're magical beings. We're not even people. We are magical beings. And not losing sight of that is so critically important on this journey. At least if you want to maintain some level of known sanity, right? I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. Okay, I'm going to put these away. I'm going to pull out a tarot deck, I feel like. I didn't know if this is going to be long or not. I feel like this is getting kind of long. I hope that doesn't turn away anybody in the future, but the messages are all beautiful, and it's messages that have to come out, so those who are ready for them and who are supposed to be hearing them right now will stick around and hear them, I suppose, right? What deck do we need to be pulling out? My Urantia book. I've only just started this. I was given this by a friend. His name is Zach. Props to you, man. This book is incredible. It's kind of like the Bible for metaphysical spirituality. It's not religious. It's like a history of our being, our beingness, our existence, Gaia's existence, the universe, the universes, multiple universes, how they all kind of came to be. It's my general understanding without having read the entire book yet, but it's like a Bible for spiritual people, no religion. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain that. Don't let that B word turn you away. Move all my beautiful beings. I have another friend, Tabby, who is so unbelievably and beautifully creative. Girl, you blow my mind. She made all these little, so we had a new moon event with another friend of mine, Christina, who, the last time I'll say Christina, she goes by Kat now. She owns this beautiful restaurant, and she opened up her space to a few of us for the last new moon that we had to kind of do some meditation, and we drew some cards, and we did some journaling. It was beautiful, but Tabby made these beautiful, she called them new moonians. She called us new moonians, but they all had this Ayla Nereo, I don't know how to say her name well. These are all song titles, and we looked up the lyrics. Were absolutely amazing for each of us that chose one. We chose them intuitively without knowing what they were. We didn't look, we just picked. They were all beautiful. She made this. She's got these adorable little slugs that she's making now, hippie slugs. Like what? It's got crystals on them. There's a little feather in here. They're just ridiculous. And my friend Lemuria, she makes these beautiful spirits buds. She's working on all these like new versions and whatnot that have feather tails or interchangeable like stone charms, so you could change out what stone they have there. She's got these beautiful wings. These actually glow in the dark, which is ridiculous. She's amazing, and I love her. And I love Tabby. Okay, so I feel like the deck we're going to pull out is my Game of Thrones deck, which I don't feel called to use often, so I'm intrigued by that. Let's see what comes out. We'll see, right? Let's find out. I'm gonna go right there, Urantia. Urantia is apparently the name of our planet, as it is, like, galactically known. That was its original name. I didn't know that. See, you just learned something new. You will guarantee it. Urantia. This book isn't that expensive either. If you go on, I want to say it's Amazon, and purchase it, it's cheap, it gets too fast, and it also comes with a QR code inside that you can scan. Right, it really just gives you a website you can go to where you can listen to the entire book on audio, which I love, because then when I'm driving the kids around to school and whatnot, I get to continue listening to it. Or from cooking and stuff. Sometimes it's not always easy to be reading a book. That being said, I prefer holding a book in my hand. There's something about a physical book, that knowledge that's contained between those covers. It's like you can feel the work, the energy, the love, the creation within those pages. I love books. That's the real life Belle in me. That was one of my favorite movies when I was a little girl. Beauty and the Beast. I just wanted to be Belle. I lived in libraries. I wanted to check out all the books. top line for where we have been. Just a short little blip to show us what we've been through. We're going to get a second line for where we are right now. And we'll get a third line for where we are heading. Leave these clear, concise messages. Deal? Okay. Okay, so what I see on this first line so far is your truth. Ace of Swords was the first card that came out. Is the truth. It's divinely guided. It is. It's cutting through all the bullshit, knowing at the end of the day what your truth is. The rest of these cards tell me that we have come to a place in the recent past where we have taken that sort of truth, we have embodied what our truth is, and there is no real swaying us from knowing what it is now, right? We have taken charge of our situation, or at least we're learning how to. We're starting to gain our footing there and celebrating in that. It's a huge victory inside to finally be at that point where we feel very solidified in knowing who we are, where we've been, and where we're going, right? Even just a little bit feels monumental considering where we all have been before that even. We do have one card that is reversed, and that is the Page of Spears. The rest of the cards all around here are telling me that maybe you had some sort of an opportunity that you maybe were excited about, had some passion, and didn't really follow through on. Maybe something about it was a little bit fearful or intimidating. Maybe you didn't feel like the timing was right. But after that, we do have finding your self-worth, even if it is more of a physical self-worth in terms of what it is that you're going to be doing from here. But taking this and beginning to communicate this, whether it's to yourself, people close to you, a friend, whatever it is, but energetically communicating now that you know where you've been, you know where you are now, and you know what you're going to do from here. There's no swaying you from that. Like I said before, we do have the Tower followed by the Queen of Swords that is heading out that first line. So all of these realizations, I would have to assume, and the cards are agreeing, have maybe ended some cycles in our lives. That Tower is falling, and the Queen of Swords takes no bullshit. She knows what needs to be done. She knows what needs to be said. She knows what's what. She takes that sword and she cuts it all away. It is what it is. Cersei is the Queen of Swords in this picture. She's on the Iron Throne. If you watch Game of Thrones, you know how she's embodied. She's on here as the Queen. It's not when she is early on in her journey and she's more kind of biding her time and waiting and manipulating from behind the scenes, right? But she looks sweet and innocent with her longer hair. Then she cuts it and she's a little more controlling, but it's manipulation through her children. This is at the point where she's like, I don't give a shit. I don't care about the, night walkers that are coming and helping you all. I don't care about my kids have passed, and sure, that was sad, but they're gone now. It's all done. I don't care. This is where I am. This is what I have to deal with, and this is what needs to go so I can deal with what needs to be done. It's a very take no prisoners kind of an energy. Not quite as much as the King of Swords, but dear Lord, she takes no bullshit. I kind of feel like she should be the King of Swords, right? Like who more to take no bullshit than Cersei? Okay, so yes, we have all been through these moments recently where we are starting to understand our truth, and we're really taking hold of what that means for us, celebrating where we are in that moment and moving forward. Take no prisoners. Maybe be a little gentler about this. Have some of you kind of been a little more gruff about this? Maybe we've been so excited that we're going to just at this point where we say, there's a lot of swords action going on in this first line. Maybe that's leading to a couple of the issues that you're having now. I feel really good and solid in my relationships, but I'm hearing that there are people who are not so much. That there's a struggle in communication. It's a struggle in communication. Okay, where are we at now? Maybe just take a little bit of a softer approach. We can have respect for ourselves and where we are while maintaining respect for others, right? Not to say that that's everybody. Ace of Cups. Ace of Swords, and right under that is Ace of Cups. So we are definitely this is what we are in. We are in our gratification, in our feelings. We are in our happy place. We are feeling fulfilled, self-fulfilled. This is self-fulfillment. This isn't coming from somebody else. The Devil reversed. Our attachments are being severed, right? We're cutting away what does not serve us any longer. This is like beautiful. Nine of Cups. Okay, so the Devil and the Nine of Cups both came up reversed, and I'm going to leave it reversed. I do reversals based on what I feel. I'm leaving him that way. Okay, so the second line here is telling me that I have that self-gratification emotionally inside, right? Breaking away the attachments to the things that were preventing us from feeling self-fulfilled, from feeling gratified internally, from feeling like we have everything in front of us, at least at that moment that we feel like we need, right? Those things that are keeping us from that. Maybe even those things that are keeping us in that feeling of, I am gratified, but really we're not. Something still feels off inside. Severing that away. After that, we have cards that are all telling me that we are feeling self-nurtured, taking care of ourselves, that we are starting to understand we have a karma and a dharma, right? We have energies that we have created that need to be fulfilled, contracts that have been created because of our karma and the things that we have done. And then our dharma is our soul's purpose. It is where we don't have a choice but to go. It is relationships that we don't have a choice but to have. It is events that we don't have a choice but to experience one way or the other. Something needs to be done to line us up with where we need to be and to instill in us the lessons that need to be learned, and to bring us into relationship with the type of people, our tribe, the people that we need to have around us to get to our ultimate happiness, our dharma, our purpose. And balancing those things, you can have temperance that comes up after that. Temperance is divinely guided patience, right? Some of us might be learning that. Some of us have really learned that. That has been a huge lesson for me. I've never been known as a patient person, but I'm pretty freaking patient now, if you could understand where I've been, who I am, and what I'm waiting on. Very patient. We have the Page of Swords in here also, which is more communication to me, and it is also so swords are thoughts. So this could be communicated, or this could just again be energetically, but this is more of an infantile communication. it is surrounded by these cards that are self-nurturing and that are about our karma and our dharma and patience. So I feel like this is sort of the beginning of you communicating and understanding that there are things that need to go and there are things that need to stay. Really starting to understand in your logical mind, your ego mind, why you've been where you were and where you are potentially going. What has happened and why? What is the purpose of all of that? And rounding out that second line is the Queen of Coins, who is also nurturing, very, very nurturing, but kind of having it all complete around and in of herself on the material and the physical plane. Material doesn't need to mean possessions, but just in your physical self. We have the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Coins both in this line, with the Ace of Cups, which is, it's just huge for self-nurturing, for feeling very fulfilled within yourself and all of the things that really matter in this moment of healing from everything we've been through and getting into our happy place again. I hope that all makes sense. I feel like this it's very resonant. I also want to say that the number of cards that come out were exactly the number that was on the top line, and it's kind of beautiful to see how we have things that switch. We went from the Queen of Swords to the Queen of Coins, went from the Tower to Temperance. You have the Knight of Swords, who kind of just comes in and is thrashing around, and it's Ramsey, who he was kind of a dick, you know. And by kind of, I mean very much so. He's twisted and demented, and he says what he wants to say with no regard. He does what he wants to do with no regard for how that is affecting other people. Not to say that you're necessarily like that, but that's him. Underneath that is our Two of Coins, is understanding balance, that there's a right way and a wrong way to do things, that maybe there's something that we have to do, but it's all about that respect, right? The Page of Spears is reversed on the top line, but underneath that is the Queen of Cups upright. So maybe there was something that had an opportunity that had been brought to you that you didn't take advantage of, but through not taking advantage of that, I feel like you were able to self-nurture yourself more, to grow more emotionally, and really gain your footing in a more mature manner there, as opposed to kind of just jumping off like the Page would do. The Page is very infantile in their thinking, right? It's more like being a child going into something as opposed to a king or a queen, and having that more childlike wonder. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but to have traded that off, if it's something that is meant to be, it will always come back to you, right? Nothing that is for your purpose and your benefit is ever going to elude you. Having traded that off for the time being, using your temperance to understand that maybe this isn't for me right now, I need some more inner work done, and having done that, approaching now the Queen of Cups is, I hope for you, very self-gratifying to know that is, on that note, it's the Page of Spears, the Knight of Cups, and the Devil that are all reversed. It's a good mental thought for me. And your Ace of Swords has come down to the Ace of Cups. So your truth is becoming very self-fulfilling, very self-nurturing. I love this. Where are we going, Spirit? What cards do you need to see for where we are going from here? What do we need to know? Lionel, let me tell you. So our Page has evolved into a Queen, our Page of Spears, and she's upright, which is beautiful. Our Two of Coins has progressed to a Three of Coins. Spirit, round out this last line, Spirit. This last line ends with wishes being granted. Wishes are made, wishes are granted. So we do start this off with the Five of Cups, which is disappointment. Disappointment is bound to come when there are things that we need to let go of to get to where we need to go, right? Sometimes that is a hard thing to accept, but it's something we have to accept nonetheless if we're going to go to where we need to be. The moon coming after that, the rest of these cards are telling me that this disappointment may be around something that you maybe had kept to yourself. Maybe it was something that was an internal knowing, something that we would consider a secret. Doesn't need to be a negative thing, but that there was maybe some sort of a person or I want to say opportunity. Just say an opportunity. Maybe that was an opportunity that you had really wanted to be a part of. Be that a person, an event, a career, whatever that is, something you wanted to learn that you kind of kept inside, and maybe you have this disappointment around that not having happened. Maybe it is just that that event didn't happen yet. I feel like I need to say that. We have the Hermit in the middle, so following your guidance. The Hermit in this card, and this is Brand, and he is looking up to a lantern, which signifies enlightenment. Lights are always enlightenment for me. It is following your guiding light, and that light is being held by a crow. Crows are spiritual for me. They are protective. So I feel like this is really going inside and listening to, discussing with your inner being and your guides these things that maybe you have a disappointment about that didn't come. What do I do about these things now? Where do I go from here? Knowing that wherever you do go from here, you are protected. The guidance that you get is divinely protected guidance. And after that, we have judgment. And judgment really is bringing forth the living and the dead, and the divine really pointing out what stays and what goes, right? What deserves to have new life, and what deserves to stay 6 feet under where it belonged. And coming after that, we have Three of Coins, Page of Coins, the Star. Going inside and following your guidance and hearing, feeling, knowing from the divine what needs to be released and what needs to be gone after with passion is going to bring about this solid foundation. There is, do you know, no figure that is more stable than a pyramid, a triangle, a pyramid, right? So your Three of Coins builds a strong foundation for this new endeavor that you're going to go on. The Page of Coins, he's almost like receiving a loan. If you look, you got Tyrion here, who's, it's like almost like this compass thing looking up here, like that's pointing you in the right way, and here's a loan of some money to get you there, of some knowledge, some whatever it is that you're going to need to get to where you're going on your journey. Here it is, and he's just sitting there with open hands. Okay, divine, I'm waiting, and it's coming. I can see it's coming. It's coming to me. I trust that it's coming. And after that, we have the Star. The Star is looking out and making a wish. It is a hope. It is a dream. It is it has a divine guidance to it, right? We have a candle there still. There's divine around it. There's a divinity. So I really feel like we are heading in a positive direction collectively. Parts of this may resonate more than others. I hope that you can figure out and hear what your situation is, and I hope that this is helpful for you. I don't want to make it too detailed one way or the other with people or with events or anything when it's a collective, broad reading. But this really does look like, you know, hell has been gone through, and we've experienced some tumultuous times maybe, but we're in more of a calm state now and understanding where we have been, taking a breather. This feels like a breather, right? We're in a breather and looking forward to where we're going, having disappointments about some things that we've lost and left behind or that didn't come to us when we thought they would, but also looking up and saying, okay, so then if that wasn't for me, I'm surrendering and leaving it to the divine. What is for me? Bring it to me in divine timing. And until then, through synchronicity and following my guidance, my intuitive knowings, I'm going to go where I need to be for now. I'm going to continue to learn the things that I need to learn to get me to where I need to be. I'm going to continue to create and do the things that I need to create and do to have the life that I am wanting to have, the life that I know is coming to me. It's not just about wants, right? It's knowing. It's knowing and feeling deep inside that those things that you're desiring already exist somewhere, and pulling them into where you are now. What aligns you with that? If that is what truly makes your heart explode and soar and beat fast and brings life to you and a purpose, a drive, what do you need to do to get there? What are the things that you can do now that you can control, that you are supposed to control, that are divinely brought to you, that are going to propel you down the path that you are supposed to be heading towards? If the thing that you think that you want, when you think about it, brings a heavy feeling, or brings fear, or brings just a lower vibrational negative feeling in any way, it's not for you. If when you think about it, you get a smile on your face, and your heart feels warmer inside, it feels like that fire is ignited, and you get excited when you think about it, then you're on the right track. Keep doing it. If it is tarot, I love doing tarot. I love cards. I love them. I'm very excited to do readings for people when I feel like that is more of my time, which might be now. Maybe once this channel starts to pick up more and there are subscribers, then that will be the time. That's when I know that Spirit is telling me now is the time for you to do readings for others. People are noticing you, your messages are getting out there. That's my intention I'm setting for myself. And until then, I'm doing a lot of reading and learning, and I'm helping people in my physical world to heal and to grow, because that's just as important as my own healing and growth, right? Is helping others do the same along the way. Otherwise, what's the point in you being happy and healthy if you're surrounded by miserable, unhealthy people, right? That's not fun either. I feel pretty good about this reading. I don't think that there's anything else that I want to do. I kind of want to pull one Sacred Earth Oracle, just because I also love this deck. And I feel like we need to give more gratitude and attention to Gaia and her ascension, and how she's going through this just as much as we are, right? We are as above, so below, as within, so without. Everything we're going through, she's going through, and really pulling in that unification of, okay, Gaia, where you are, what guidance do you have for us, and what can we do for you? Don't forget to answer that either. What can we do for you? What can we do for the earth? What can we do for the collective? What can we do for ourselves? Okay, what messages do we have from Sacred Earth? Specialization. Really, really honing in on what it is that makes your heart go. What is it that makes you special? What is it that makes you different from everybody else? We are all different. If we were all the same, this would be boring as hell. This is why I'm not going to go off on a rant. We all need to have our own individual purposes, our individual feelings, our own individual truths, our paths. Because if you're following my path, then you're not doing your path. Listen to what your inner being is telling you is your path. If you're following my path, or you're following Joe or Mary Beth's path down the road, then we can't all ascend. Everybody plays an intricate, integral part in the ascension. And if you're not there fitting into your little plug, it's like if you have this motherboard for a computer going, and everybody is finding their places and figuring out how to make all these little components into one big component that makes a bigger picture function. One little component is out of place. then it doesn't work, right? If this component decides to be over here, it's red, but it wants to be over in blue, it's not going to work. You need the red to be where the red is supposed to be. Follow your path. What is it that makes you special? How is it that you can help not only yourself, but everyone around you? How can you help Gaia? How can you help with anything? Even with your kids. We overlook that often. We go through our growth and we don't focus on like our kids. How can you bring this into your community? Through simple little things. Just teaching kindness constantly. Kindness and mindfulness. Being aware of your words. How our words are like spells. I say that all the time. Spells are real. Your words are spells. And you don't need to look at it in a witch way or in a Wiccan way if that's something that freaks you out. I don't even intend it that way at all. But your words are intentions, and we manifest our intentions, especially when we verbalize it. We're sending that vibration out into existence, and what we send out has to come back. It's a boomerang effect. That is the law of attraction. That is the secret. Everything that you say has an intention. So if you're walking around constantly telling your children, be careful, be careful, be careful, it is setting the intention that they need to be fearful because something is going to happen, right? That is in essence what we're doing. So if we instead are telling your children, be mindful of what you're doing, just be mindful. That's what we should all be doing constantly, right? Being mindful of our feelings, being mindful of our surroundings, being mindful of other people. It's not that we need to be afraid of it. It's not that we need to be overjoyed of it. It's not that we need to be angry about it. We need to be mindful of each situation we're in each moment, and what is the appropriate action, behavior, whatever. Throat chakra stuff. I know, haha, right? What is the appropriate behavior in that moment? We can much more readily be present in those moments the way that Spirit intends us to be when we are mindful. So with that, I'm going to close out this video. I'm going to hope, setting the intention that this reaches everyone that it needs to reach in the time that it's supposed to reach them. I'm not dating anything because time is fluid and it does not matter. And when it finds you, it is just your time for it to find you. With that, I'm going to say, have an amazing and empowered day. I hope to hear comments about how impactful this was maybe on you, how much it resonated, and where you've been on your journey. I love hearing about other people's journeys and what they're going through and finding that resonance, that common ground. Even though our journeys aren't the same, we all have common threads that are interwoven, right? And that is often fun for me to see. I'm going to leave it there, and that's it. All right. I love you guys.